All right, folks. Woo. So there's one company that I constantly bet against whenever I can, just because I legitimately cannot stand this company, and they're called Sundial Growers. Right, so Sundial Growers is a marijuana-based like pharmaceutical company or something like that, and they're pretty cool. They got some. I will admit, I'll give them some props. They do have decent earnings. For a while, they were definitely pumped up way too high for their own good as far as market valuation goes. Of course, they're a meme stock, and stock price has gone up rapidly because of the meme stock craze. I do see some potential with this company, oddly enough. So here's the thing. I do bet against it primarily. I'm not going to lie. But I believe it is in such an uncertain, extremely crazy territory. We don't know the future of this company at all. We don't know if it's going to be good, if it's going to be bad. I just have such a lack of faith in this company. It's insane. For me, though, the way I look at this company is this. I buy it on the dip. I buy stock of it on the dip because I have so many different put options, because I bet against it so hard numerous times, by the way. And I've come up on top because I always get long-term puts and I play it very intelligently. But I also, like I said, I do play both sides of it, and I do primarily bet against it. Hey, look, honestly, if it did go up in value, if it went up to like $4 a share, I would be a very rich man. Not gonna lie. I won't even candy coat it. I won't even sugarcoat it. I would be a very wealthy man. However, chances of it going to $4, unless there's a major pump and dump thing going on with it again, short squeeze or whatever, which it probably will be. I mean, it still has very heavy short interest, and rightfully so. I just don't like the way they screw over the shareholders. And I think that they're at risk of being delisted. People don't really talk about that enough. They've been... I think I got like chocolate on me. I've been eating way too many things. But here's the thing. As somebody who sees this company for what it really is, I kind of can't really just be on board with it. You know, there's just a lot of factors that go into this company that just, it's sketchy as hell. And the reason I see it as such a sketchy company is for the pure fact that they issue a ton of shares all the time, diluting the existing amount of shares already, because they just keep piling on more and more shares. So any existing shareholders, the value of their shares goes lower in value. So, and then they promise they're going to do like a stock buyback. And I'm like, that's not going to happen. I mean, they might, since it is at a low enough value now, and the market valuation does seem pretty reasonable for this company. I mean, I'm not going to completely count it out. I just don't see it being the company everybody on Reddit thinks it's going to be. And that's the problem. There's so much hopeful optimism for no reason. I just don't see the evidence. Like, sure, they've acquired a few different companies. That's great. And maybe that'll help them out. Maybe that'll help them grow. Maybe that'll help them get some great revenue. Hopefully the cost of operations for all these companies they acquire are not that big. But outside of it, though, I just don't trust it. I don't trust it as a company. I don't think that they're making the right decisions overall. I'm not feeling the company. Not feeling it, dog. But at the end of the day, what can you do? What can you do? And I don't know. It's just so frustrating. It's just so frustrating because I see a company like this and I think it has potential to maybe even be purchased by a bigger company. And that's another hope I kind of have. Like, if I keep buying this company in the dip and it goes to a lower and lower market valuation, maybe some company out there will see it and be like, you know what? Maybe we'll just do a fucking forced out buyout. And maybe that would be the best thing for them. But overall, I still bet against this company heavily, very, very heavily. Like, I see all these Sundial Growers YouTube channels, and they're just like, well, they're not dedicated all, but they're all dedicated like pot stocks and all these crazy stocks. And like, good for them. But at the same time, it's like, I know you have faith in the marijuana industry, but it's such a crazy industry and it's going to take a while to stable out. But yeah, you know, if they legalize marijuana on the federal level, I will get rich from my holdings, guarantee you that, because people will be buying and buying and buying into anything that has marijuana in the name. But then again, this company could get delisted from the NASDAQ, unless they do like a reverse split, which I think is really bound to happen. The advantages of a reverse split in this instance would be kind of, in my opinion, kind of cool. Because that would force off a sell-off, because unless they announce a reverse split, that's usually not a good thing, by the way. It's not like a normal split. It's not a normal stock split. A reverse stock split, completely different. In a reverse stock split, basically they say, hey, you got to take X amount of shares, and we're going to give you X amount of shares in exchange. So, for example, let's say they did a 2-for-1, right? Where it's like you have to give us 2 shares. For every 2 shares that you give us, we'll give you 1 back. So essentially what it does is this doesn't change the fundamental value of the company, just to let you guys know. This does change the share price, though, because that makes it to where there's less shares in the overall pool. And because there's less shares, you have to basically times whatever the price is by 2 at this point. So whatever the price was before the reverse split, you times it by whatever. So like in the 2-for-1 instance, we just times it by 2, make it easier. I'm not going to display all the math. It's pretty simple though. Just think about it. If it's a 5/1, for every 5 shares that you own, you exchange those 5 for 1. You keep doing that until you get the amount. But the point is, the natural value of the company, the market valuation, doesn't change. However, a massive sell-off typically happens in a reverse split. It's very rare that people buy in during a reverse split, because it's not good news. It really isn't. But I will admit, I do happily buy into Sundial as it goes down in value, because like, why the hell not? Maybe it will. Who knows? Maybe at some point it may get delisted. That is a possibility one would have to consider. But yeah, I happily own several put contracts against the company, and as I should, because I really just don't have that much faith in them. They may surprise us all. They may surprise us. Maybe NASDAQ will be generous. But the company, I'm assuming, would like to remain listed. I would hope to think that. Unless they just know that their whole cause is a fucking dying one. But honestly, if they did go to over-the-counter, it wouldn't bother me in the slightest. Because eventually some companies do try to reapply for relisting. Like, they do try. Like, they say, hey, here's what we've done to improve. We believe we should be public. And hopefully they'll be listed on the NASDAQ again. But I just think they're going to get delisted. They should have been delisted already, but they didn't get. So that's the only thing that pissed me off, man. Should have been delisted, but they didn't get delisted. So what do you do? Anyway, though, Sundial Growers, it's a fraudulent company, and I'll always bet against them. But hey, while they're dipping, I'll also buy a little bit more shares just in case all you meme stalkers decide to do a short squeeze and try to squeeze us out. Guess what? We're buying shares in the dip. We're playing both sides. We win either way. So if you pump it up, I make money. It don't matter. So keep that in mind, you sons of bitches. Anyway, later, folks. Stay safe, stay sexy, and bet against penny stocks that suck. And maybe also buy a little bit as it goes down too, while you have your existing put options. Later, boys.